Welcome to Astro Babble. I'm Donna from Donna Barr Astrology.
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
And today we are going to be talking about the new moon in Sagittarius,
Very
the
nice.
horoscopes and the aspects that will be coming with this lunation. The moon mansion associated with this lunation is the 21st mansion. It's called the City. This is a mansion that it speaks of defeat, destructive enmities, and people or forces at odds. This is the significator of endings as well. And they say to cut your losses in Christopher Warnock's book, The Moon Mansions. The Mansions of the Moon is the title of his book. And it's the image of the a two-faced Gemini. So it's kind of Gemini-ish, but it can signal a liar whenever the moon is in here. So this is really good with this lunation, because you want to make sure, if you suspect that somebody is not being totally upfront with you, this is a good good lunation to make sure you're checking your facts.
Wow.
I know.
Damn. Interesting. I see that Jupiter, the ruler of this new moon, is in Taurus. So it's in inversion. It can't be seen. Well, the new moon can't see its ruler, which is a shame because it can't help it. Mercury, which you were talking about, it's very Gemini-like, this moon mansion, is in Capricorn right next to it. So it's also an inversion. It's like in its blind spot. So maybe that will be kind of helpful. If it's, Mercury kind of mischief making that's kind of associated with this moon mansion, maybe the fact that it's in inversion, I don't know. I think if someone's going to be playing mischief on you, it's best to be able to see it. So maybe having it in inversion is worse, actually. Where's Venus? Venus is an inversion, but it
Well,
has
yeah, because
Mars with it.
aversion means you can't see it coming.
Well, maybe that's good. Maybe Venus will bring, well, Venus is in detriment. She's in Scorpio.
Yes, she is. She
So
is.
she's in detriment, but maybe she'll try to give some secret help, which is very Scorpio-like. Mars is with the new moon. It's 7 degrees away, also in Sagittarius. What else have we got? Saturn is sextile.
Saturn is sextiling Jupiter.
Hmm.
That ruler of that moon, so a little restraint.
It should be a very interesting time. We've got some nice aspects coming up with this next 2-week period, though. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out. And I imagine that, well, what is the case, Donna? You're the one that is up on the moon mansions and that. Do these moon mansions, like, I know that you're doing it for the degree of the new or the full moon, but do you
Yes.
think that, like, if you have planets, obviously, if you've got planets at 20 or round about 20 degrees of, in this case, the mutables, so that's Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, or Virgo, that is going to impact them more?
I think that the moon mansions, they're pretty descriptive of the stars that they're around. And I think that they're giving the more of the flavor of the maybe the stars. I don't know. I don't suspect. If I was a betting person, I would say no. I
Mm.
think that it has to be in the sign where the moon is for it to be effective. So I
Oh,
think I think everybody else is pretty safe. Even if you have planets and other signs that are of the immutable signs, I don't think they're affected by
mm,
this. They
interesting.
might be a little with the moon,
Mm,
if the moon triggers them, but the moon
yeah.
uh
Well, that's
yeah.
interesting because, like, during a 2-week period, the moon's going to get all the way around to Gemini. Well,
Yeah,
Cancer, actually, because our next full moon is in Cancer.
right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so the moon's going to be traveling through all those planets. And
But
for this lunation, I would think that the lunation is kind of a static type of a chart
yeah,
once the lunation happens.
but I
And for
mean,
that reason, I wouldn't bring in the other houses.
mm. But what I'm kind of saying is, like, this is quite a mischievous and maybe kind of a little bit underhanded sounding moon mansion. If you have planets at 20 degrees of, or very close to 20 degrees of Sagittarius, I'd say you're probably more likely to experience those negative effects more.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes, I would think so.
mm. Interesting. Mm. But it is kind of a general flavor for probably all of us, and particularly
It will last
wherever
throughout.
Sagittarius is in your natal chart. Where's it in your natal chart?
Sagittarius is my eighth house.
Oh,
I'm a Taurus rising, and I have just my part of fortune there. So
oh, it's my 12th. Better behave.
yeah, I don't have a lot of yeah.
Well, I don't have anything in Sag, so there is that. Anyway, let's have a look at the horoscopes.
Sounds good.
And of course, we recommend that you listen or read your ascendant sign horoscope rather than your sun or your moon sign. And we've done a video all about that. We'll put a link to that in the description so you can understand why reading or listening to your ascendant sign horoscope is just far more accurate for you.
So if you are a Sagittarius rising, this
Mhm.
new moon in Sagittarius is going to happen in your first house. This is the house of yourself. So a new hairstyle, a new wardrobe, anything that you're doing for yourself this is a good time to start those seeds. If you are planning on doing something that would be a long venture, then this would be when you would start it if you're doing something for yourself. Uh, you know, this is you got Mars in there, so you're going to have a lot of drive, but you have Neptune that it's squaring. So, kind of. So that would be, you might have not be as clear about what you are thinking of doing about yourself. So just check on those things.
Yeah, I was just looking at that
Make sure.
Venus in the 12th house of our undoing opposite Jupiter that likes to expand. I think it'd be very easy to go way overboard. I mean, that
Yes.
Venus has passed its exact opposition to that Jupiter, but that just kind of jumped out at me, particularly when we're talking about things like, our appearance, just,
Mm.
and not only that, we've got Mercury that's going to station retrograde very soon. And even though Mercury is in your second house of income and finances, it's going to retrograde back into the first house of our health and vitality and our appearance. So, yeah, maybe I wouldn't be doing anything overly dramatic when it comes to
Yeah.
looks or appearance. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
going to be
because Mars is
interesting.
in there too, and that's the planet of let's not think about this action
Mhm.
first.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mars is the planet that says just go ahead and do it, and we'll ask questions later. So you
Yeah.
might want to be a little cautious with what you're starting.
Yeah, and I mean, the new moon and Mars are both ruled by Jupiter. Like, go big or go home. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be interesting time, I think. And if you are a Scorpio ascendant, this new moon is happening in your second house. The second house is the house of our income, finances, and personal resources. So new beginnings, new starts to do with income, finances, things that can assist you or support you. As we were saying just before, Mars is with this new moon, and Mars can be quite rash sometimes. It is a little distance away from squaring that Neptune, but it is moving up towards that square with Neptune. So it's not really sure exactly where it's going. So yeah, and we also have Mercury retrograde, which will retrograde in your third house, but it's going to retrograde back into your second house of income, personal finances, and resources. So very easy to get excited or carried away, I think, to move too quick regarding these subjects. So yes, these subjects are going to be on your mind and that, but maybe just, don't just kind of sign away for the first thing that comes up. Take your time, look around, double check, otherwise it might be coming back to bite you when Mercury retrogrades back into your second house.
As you can see, Mercury stationing here. So
Mm,
if you've got banking issues, go through that with a fine-tooth comb for sure, for sure.
mm.
And then if you are a Libra, this new moon in Sagittarius is going to be happening in your third house. And the third house is the house of early education, as well as your community that you live in. It's also the house of your siblings and family. So it has a lot to do with language as well, early language. And this is the new moon that's starting. You can start projects around all of that. Be careful of, so this would be a great, for community, and it's coming up upon the Christmas time. This would be a good time to, be involving your siblings or your community to any kind of, well, it's more than just Christmas. There's lots of holidays. So it's the holiday season. Invite your community, your brothers and sisters, siblings, cousins to celebrate. It's pretty good. You want to give it some thought and make sure that you keep your, the aggressions in talking while you're celebrating. Make sure that that Mars is pretty darn close to that lunation. Just keep
Yeah,
that in mind. And that South Node is in your first house. So, be careful of, that is another caution right there. So with caution. So this is the Christmas, this is the holiday season with caution.
oh my. And if you are a Virgo ascendant, this new moon is in your fourth house. Fourth house is our parents, home, family, living situation, real estate matters, heritage. So, yeah, you got new beginnings, new starts, new ideas surrounding those topics or those people. So, your parents in particular, maybe. Mars is there, so you may need to exercise some caution. There may be a desire to rush or do things too quickly. That Mars is coming up. It's a fair way away, but it is coming up to square Neptune, which does cloud matters. So even though you may be really, revved up and excited about this, it's cloudy. You might not be aware of everything you need to know. And we have Mercury, that's in your fifth house of children, fun, creativity, romance, all those fun things. It's going to retrograde back into the fourth house, which, as I said, parents, living situation, home,
Lineage.
lineage. But there's something else I want to say. Real estate matters. So you may need to go over these topics again for whatever reason later. So a good way, just, if you're dealing with anything to do with those people or subjects, if it's important, if it's big, if it would be upsetting to get it wrong, check, double check, maybe even triple check. This is a very mischievous kind of, very mischievous new moon. It just, lots of irritating things, I think, for many people.
And Mercury and the moon are both out of bounds. So
Oh, lovely.
they're kind of acting a little and not as themselves. So
A little bit maverick. Yes.
yes. And if you are a Leo rising, this new moon is gonna happen in your fifth house. This is the house of creativity and fun. This would be a time for, to start new things with the things your hobbies, the things that you do for fun. So this is, going to a concert or, creating children. This is something that you could do. this is the time to start those hobbies. If you wanted to start a hobby and it's right around the holiday season, this would be a good time to, start those creative things.
And if you are a Cancer ascendant, this new moon is happening in your sixth house. The sixth house is illness. It's also pets, co-workers, those that work for you. That can be employees. That could be a subcontractor, somebody that comes in to do something around the house. It could be somebody that you supervise. It's also people that are of service to others, good for the community, people like doctors, nurses, first responders, etc. So there could be new beginnings, new starts to do with those matters. We do have Mars, not super close to this new moon, but it is there. And there's a lot of planets in what we say is aversion. A lot of the planets here cannot see it. Both the benefics can't help because they're in aversion. They're like in a blind spot. It's like they're oblivious to this new moon, which is a shame. And we've got one of the malefics, Mars, with it. And we've got Saturn sextiling it, which hopefully might actually kind of help a little bit because it's also in a sign ruled by Jupiter. But, easy to get carried away. May need to watch for aggression, particularly misdirected aggression, because that Mars is coming up to square Neptune. The sixth house is also day-to-day kind of just getting about. Mars is actually in its joy in this house, but, Mars is a malefic, so, you do have that. Easy to just kind of your day-to-day running around, it could be increased. Watch for accidents. Things like if you don't feel right, get that checked. If they're kind of like, well, this looks like this and we should operate, maybe a good time to get a second opinion, maybe even a third. Yeah, pets may be a little bit more aggressive at this time, maybe. But yeah, you may have new plans to do with these matters. You may be really raring to go with matters to do with co-workers, employees, or similar. It might not go as fast as you would like. It's just a weird energy. Oh, and of course, Mercury's going to retrograde back into this house too, because Mercury will retrograde. It's going to retrograde the next day. Well, it's going to station retrograde in your seventh house of your one-on-one relationships, but it's going to come back into your sixth house as well. So just any matters to do with pets, co-workers, employees, illness, those that serve the public, there may be a need to go over old ground regarding those matters, particularly if you have planets between 22 Sagittarius, which is not far from this new moon. Mercury's going to retrograde almost back as far as this new moon, and 8 Capricorn.
And if you are a Gemini rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your seventh house. And the seventh house is the house of the other. The seventh house is the house of, the one-on-one relationships, whether it's a significant other or a business partner, or even a doctor or a lawyer, somebody you have an appointment with, somebody you have a committed relationship, or actually anybody you have a committed relationship, but it's the one-on-one. It's not groups. It's just the one-on-one type of relationships that you do have. And, this is a good time to start those, new relationships. You might have a relationship, a new relationship very well might start for you at this time if you are a Gemini rising.
And if you are a Taurus ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house is shared finances and resources. It's other people's money. So this can include topics such as inheritances, your partner's money, whether that's a business partner or a romantic partner. It's money that you've, commingled with another. It's also loans and debts. It is insurance and taxes. So there may be new starts, new beginnings to do with these matters. We do have Mars with the new moon, and it is coming up to square Neptune. Not super quick, but it is moving in that direction. So we also have Mercury that is going to retrograde back into this house. And Mercury does tend to make us look over things again, go back over old ground because mistakes might have happened or there may have been details missed. So if you are signing any documents, going into some sort of agreement with somebody, applying for a loan, anything to do with that sort of thing, like inheritances as well, just double check the facts, because this is, I don't know if I'd say it's a troubling new moon, but it's a bit squirrely.
And if you're an Aries rising or ascendant, this new moon is going to be happening in your 9th house. This is the house of philosophy and law publishing, as well as foreigners, higher education, and the esoteric subjects. So anything new that you would start around these themes would be something that could be on your horizon.
And if you are a Pisces ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. It's what you're known for. It's also honors and rewards. So there may be new beginnings. Maybe you're starting on a project that will reap you some acclaim or reward somewhere down the track, maybe in 6 months' time when we have the full moon in Sagittarius. Yeah, there could be a new job. There could be a new boss, because this is also the house of authorities. It may pay to watch your, not just aggression, but also just your energy levels as well within the career or just general public sphere. With Mars so close, and it's going to be squaring Neptune further down the track, which is in your first house of your health and vitality. So maybe for you, it's not so much aggression. Maybe it's going to be, you need to watch those energy levels. You know, maybe you're putting too much into career or whatever project you're working on. It may be something very personal, but something that, you know, people around you, you know, if they say, oh, you know, such and such, oh yeah, they, and whatever people would say after that, you know, she's a doctor, he's a plumber, you know, she loves to write, you know, fantastic voice, whatever people kind of say after that. That's kind of like your 10th house. You know, if somebody were to introduce you to somebody else, how would they describe you? And that's kind of a little bit 10th housey. So yeah, just watch those energy levels. You are going to have Mercury come back into this house. So whatever you are starting with regard to these matters, it may need to be gone over again. It may be something different within those subjects, you know, like maybe you're starting something new at work, but it's something else that you're known for that you need to actually review. But it just seems very likely that, you know, maybe something that's starting at this new moon, particularly since Mercury is going to move retrograde back, almost back to within 2 degrees of the same degree as this new moon. So just be aware, you know, you may be revisiting old ground pretty soon. I'm a bit of a killjoy, aren't I?
Well, you know, it's better to know the energy that's coming, you know, so that you can deal with it and prepare for it more. But you know, I do have a stone for that, but we'll wait for that for later. If you are an Aquarius rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your 11th house. This is the house of your hopes and dreams. It's also the house of your groups and associations, your friends. It's a good time to start, you know, new projects. If you have goals and hopes and dreams, this is a good time to start a new project. Like with if you had like an idea of joining a volleyball game, this, or a volleyball league, or you know, a sport, this would be a good time to start that with new moon in the 11th house.
And if you are a Capricorn ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. So the 12th house has to do with matters such as, well, our undoing. This is very hidden and secret house. So maybe you're embarking on something very hidden or secretive. It is working behind the scenes. So maybe you're going to be working a little bit more behind the scenes. But it is the house of our undoing. So particularly with Mars, which is a malefic there, and that Mars is moving up towards a square with Neptune. So his drive or his, where he's putting that energy may not be as direct as it should be. New moons, we want to, new starts, new beginnings. That Mars there can give you the energy to actually give it some start, but it may be a misdirect with Neptune coming into the picture. We also have Mercury, which is stationing retrograde in your first house. It's going to move back into your 12th house, and it's going to move back almost all the way to this new moon degree. So you may want to watch if you are doing anything underhanded, anything secretive, anything a little bit, if it's a bit dodgy, it may come back to bite you, or you may need to go back over old ground. It's just very interesting. This is also the places of confinement, like prisons or hospitals. It could be, it's a place of exile, and that can include places like just being far from home, whether that's, you've joined something like a police academy, and you're going to the academy to study, or you're going to rehab. It can be places of retreat and rest. It can be, like a monastery or a spiritual retreat, something like that. For whatever reason, Mercury is going to be going back into that house and sorting out details, wanting you to look back over matters to do with the 12th house, but also yourself, as it's going to start in the first house, which is all about you. So, interesting. 12th house is a difficult house. It's a new moon here. You get a new moon there about once every year, so it's not the end of the world. But the fact that it is with Mars and it can't see its ruler, it also can't see Venus, which is the other benefic. It's just, I wouldn't be pushing, I just wouldn't be taking too many risks or doing anything that could undo you unnecessarily.
Especially with that Neptune so close by.
Yeah, interesting times.
It seems a bit serious. But the new moon is in Sagittarius, and I think when I think Sagittarius, I think joyful, optimistic, and those types of things. And that's the energy I want to bring in. This might help mitigate some of those energies. So if you can get this stone in your house, it is called the Dalmatian Stone. You can obviously tell why. But this stone is it's a pretty friendly stone. I use this stone for when I think that people need to have some ideas, get focused, get some playfulness in their life. This is exactly, see, here's a big one. You can see the it's got black, it's a white type of crystal quartz that all these pieces are in. It used to be thought that these black dots right here were black tourmaline, and they have discovered that it is not. It's a stone called arfavenizonite. I will write it down in my article that I write about it. And so this works on the chakras of the first, second, and third chakra. So this gives that kind of that inner energy, that stuff that you bring up from the the depths of wherever you're needing to bring it. But this is a playful stone. If I have somebody who is either going through a rough time, I will use this stone. I will use this stone if somebody is getting a new direction because their life changed. I will use this stone. This stone is for finding the fun in life, finding the fun and how to get it to materialize in your life. So that's the energy of this stone. It is really a great stone to use. It really is. And it's very easy to identify. There aren't any stones that I know of that are like this. And this pattern, it's not really a pattern. It seems really random, but this is in every stone. I mean, it's the pattern in every stone. So it's a really easily recognizable stone. And it's a very friendly and nice energy type of stone. It's found in Mexico, but it has the qualities of grounding and protection. So that's why when people are a little unsure or unstable of their life and they need to get some fun into it, this gives them a little bit of protection and grounding to get that fun into your life. So that's why I picked this stone. It's a great I think it's a great Sagittarius stone. It's a lot of optimism, a lot of fun, playfulness. Exactly the qualities I think of when I think of Sagittarius.
Very nice. And yeah, with this moon mansion, I think we're going to kind of need it.
You kind of do, because
Mm,
yeah, not only that, but the aspects that are coming. We have a lot of Saturn coming in. And this
mm,
stone is a great, add some fun into it, especially with the holidays around.
yeah,
It's a good stone. It's got that nice playful energy.
kind of lightens things up a bit.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've even used this on animals. This stone is good for to do layouts with dogs and animals. It's gentle enough for that. So
Nice.
this is definitely it's a stone I've had for a very long time, and I've been working with it. You know what? I really can't think of anybody who I know that doesn't need playfulness in their life. So I use
Nice.
it pretty much on every layout.
Very nice.
Unless somebody has said, I can't, unless somebody is like, too up in their head, then I wouldn't. But if they're in those lower, feeling, then I would definitely use that stone.
Nice. Very nice.
So enjoy the Dalmatian stone. I will be writing an article about it, hopefully by Christmas. So we have on December 13th, Mercury stations retrograde. Oh, we've been waiting for this. We know it's coming. Mercury is stationing retrograde today. It has it's Mercury is the planet that is in charge of communication, travel, short travel, well, probably any travel. It's in and messages. It's a fast moving planet. It is neither benefic nor malefic. It kind of has that dual feature, which is a lot of this, even the moon mansion described this double feature, a two-faced type of individual that might be speaking one way to some people and another way to you. So this is definitely this is saying that Mercury is not going to be acting in the most dignified way. This moon mansion, that I spoke of earlier, this is saying Mercury is got a really good chance of, not being as forthcoming or missing information. So check your information twice. That's definitely for sure. It's going to end its retrograde period January 1st, but won't quite be out of the shadow period until January 20th.
And it's going to retrograde back into Sagittarius as far as 22 degrees Sagittarius, which is almost as far as this new moon, which was at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. So yeah, this retrograde period seems like very caught up with this new moon. So It's interesting because the new moon's in Sagittarius, it's going to retrograde back there. So whatever you start under this new moon is it the 12th? Yeah, the 12th of December for those in the US, 13th, very early of the 13th for some of us in Australia. Yeah, there may be a little bit of a false start. You may need to go back, review, redo, reapply any of the rewords. Donna and I did a video all about Mercury retrograde, and we'll put a link to that here. We also have I've done a separate little video, which is just taken from the larger Mercury video about the retrograde shadow period, because me and Donna have both been experiencing Mercury retrograde shadow period. As Donna said, it's the 8th there, 8th of December. It's the 9th of December here, very early morning. And yeah, it's just like I've had enough Mercury retrograde, and it hasn't even started yet.
We can list them. I've already edited one video twice.
Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. I can't even
Start listing them.
my brain is just scrambled. So yeah. So wherever Capricorn is in your natal chart, that house and the people and topics associated with that house, you may be seeing those people or hearing from people that are associated with that house. Maybe you haven't seen them for a long time. They may be coming back in some manner, and then it's going to go into Sagittarius. Wherever Sagittarius is in your natal chart, the people and topics associated with that house may be prone to errors, miscommunications, mix-ups, delays, just little irritating things, having to do things again, or particularly if it's like a third house, it might be something to do with your car, flat tires and flat battery and just irritating little things.
And Mercury is out of bounds too. So, that's also another debilitating type of condition.
Yeah. They tend to act a little bit maverick when they get beyond the bounds of where the sun usually travels. But yeah, so he's having a grand old time, or she, because it's like Donna said, it's neither masculine or feminine, it's neither malefic or benefic. It does tend to be influenced by whatever planet it's closest to. So at this current time, I think the next aspect it's going to make is to Jupiter. But, he's going to make contact with a lot of different planets. It's going to be interesting.
For sure. And Peregrine.
Oh, great.
The next aspect we're going to have is Sun square Neptune. And that's a low energy type of aspect. This would be underlined. Do not try to get away with mistruths. With a challenge, a square is a hard thing. So don't try to snow anybody. This is not a good time for it. It will come back to probably wallop you, a good one. But this is also going to be a time when you're not clear. So, don't, the worst kind of, of lying is not really the worst kind of lying, but you really run into trouble when you are not clear on your facts.
I think with this aspect too, it's really easy to be self-deluding, to tell yourself like, everything's okay, or, this is going to work out this way, it can't fail. And yeah, we've got a Mercury retrograde for a start. So yeah, it's very easy to be self-deluded, depleted energy too. I think Donna said that already. But look, the sun moves fast, so it'll pass. But really easy to be self-deluding at this time, I think. Don't bet the house.
And then the next aspect we are going to be talking about is retro Mercury is going to trine retrograde Jupiter, and those are both retrograde planets, so they're both not acting as auspiciously as they can. They are in a trine, so this energy is going to move freely. You know, when Mercury meets up with Jupiter, it's a benefic planet, so hopefully it will show up as a benefit to you. It could also mean that whatever it is that's going to show up is going to be big. So, you know, kind of keep that in your mind as well. This is not a time to take the easy route. This is a time where you almost need to put in the effort to make whatever you're trying to plan for turn out well. This is you also might want to be listening to or getting more involved or learning about religion and philosophy when Mercury is trining Jupiter.
Particularly if it's something that you were interested in previously, perhaps, you know, there's that going back. Both those planets are retrograde.
If you're writing a book, this is a good time to re-go over that.
And edit, yeah. Mercury trine, well, at least it's a trine. Yeah, big expansive ideas, but it's unfortunate that they are both retrograde at this time. I think Jupiter, I think Jupiter retrogrades, the station's direct maybe just before New Year's, or is it just after New Year's?
Just before the 30th.
Uh-huh. So yeah, so we've got a little while to go. Jupiter's been retrograde for a while. Yeah, interesting that this new moon is ruled by Jupiter. So here's the first aspect that the ruler of this new moon is engaging with, and it's with Mercury. And we spoke about that moon mansion. It's very mercurial. So yeah, it's a trine. Just very easy to get carried away, I think. Not take in all the details. And yeah, going to have to go back. Mercury's already retrograde. It's whatever house Capricorn's in, and it's going to go back into the Sagittarius house as well. So
it's back into its own terms.
It's still retrograde, and it's under the beams. So good for working behind the scenes, maybe. But you know, it's being quite mischievous, and it's maverick. Oh, actually, it's not out of bounds anymore. So that's something, I suppose. Yeah, look, great time, big ideas, brainstorming. But you know, there's likely going to be a need to refine, recheck, redo a lot of things.
And then the next aspect is Venus is going to oppose Uranus. And this is a time I've had a lot of fun with this kind of an aspect before. This is a time where you can do something new in a romantic relationship. This could also be a new romantic relationship, something that comes out of the blue. This is a time where it's asking you to look at how you view love or the things that you do with about love in a new way. So, you know, this is this can be fun. It won't last long. It's chances are if love relationships do start, they're probably not going to last long, but this is a good time to mix it up. When we had a Venus opposite Uranus one time, we went on a side tour and got out of the car, and somebody was getting married and somebody was proposing. It was really ethereal when that happened, but it's for usually a good reason. But it can be fun to mix it up. Uranus is asking you to do something or look at what you love in a different way. So if you've always looked at your significant other underneath the hood of a car, maybe seeing him behind the counter of a scrapbook store would be different. So yeah, this is it can be shocking though. This is, Uranus is that planet of shock. So you want to be careful of that.
Yeah, just shaking things up, In relationships in general, this could be, like Donna said, time to mix things up, maybe spice things up a little bit. But Venus isn't just romance and relationships, it's also art and beauty. Maybe you're taking in a different type of art or music or anything that you enjoy. Maybe you're socializing with a different group, very different group to your usual. Yeah. And it's fast moving. It's, going to pass, but it's kind of just, it's fun to look at things from a different angle sometimes.
And then the next aspect is retrograde Mercury is going to sextile Saturn. And this is that energy of, you have a lot of work to do. This would be a good time to go over that detailed work that that you've been working on. This is it's tedious. It's work that you'll be revisiting, but it's serious work. You don't really want to do the Jupiterian type of work. You want to do the details.
Yeah. Mercury's retrograde. It's combust at this time. It's so close to the sun, it can't be seen. It's getting burnt up. Saturn can lend it a little bit of stability here. Yeah, just hopefully study it. Probably a good time to do Mercury retrograde things. Look at something, re-edit, reapply. If you're starting something new and hoping that this Saturn helps, possibly not as good. Yeah, it's hard to say, but look, definitely I think a good use of this would be doing Mercury retrograde things, the rewords, rechecking, redoing. Yeah. Saturn will help with that, the stability, and make sure everything's right.
Yeah. And December 21st, the sun will enter Capricorn. This is going to be in the northern hemisphere, our shortest day. So, we can look forward to getting more light after this. This is a time when anytime any planet, and that includes the sun, moves into a new sign, is a good time to journal. This is a more serious sun, I think. You're moving into a Saturnian sign. Saturn can see it, and hopefully can give us some support for that serious work.
When the sun enters Capricorn in most, Western astrology, tropical astrology, the zodiac signs are synced to the seasons, whereas in sidereal astrology, they're synced to the stars. So yeah, this is the start of, the darkest of the dark, the shortest day in the northern hemisphere. Down here in the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite. It's our longest day. But for those in the northern hemisphere, the days are it's still going to be more dark than it is light, but the light is going to slowly start to, a little bit more light every day. So it's like, the worst is done. Mind you, still got to get through 2 Saturn signs, so I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, so wherever Capricorn is in your chart, your natal chart, the people and topics associated with that chart are probably going to be more prominent over the next month. And yeah, they're shining a light. We've got Mercury there at the moment, but it's going backwards. Yeah, and we've got Pluto there as well. So fun times.
The sun going to be shining a light on the Plutonian issues that are going to be changing, because Pluto's about to move too. Not this month, but
I do believe that the sun will catch up with it before it changes signs. Let's have a quick look. They'll catch up. It looks just before it goes. But that should be the last time that the sun conjuncts Pluto in Capricorn, I believe, because Pluto will be in Capricorn from September to November next year. But so the sun won't come round to, this will be the last Sun-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. The next
In
one will
Capricorn.
be in Aquarius.
Ooh, that's pretty big. So if you have not been listening, just stop.
It should be interesting.
And then the next aspect we are going to encounter is the sun is going to conjunct retro Mercury. And this is called a cazimi, or it's in the heart of the sun, or in the king's room. There's all kinds of names that, you know, the ancient people have put names to this. But what it is when basically the sun is trying to give energy, or the basically the marching orders for Mercury. Mercury is still in a retrograde, so he's not going to act upon it once he gets out of the beams of the sun, but he's going back into the retrograde period. When he goes back, and then when he comes forward again, is when that this action is really going to take place. So it's the first cazimi of the Mercury Sun lineup, and usually that is that's very inspirational for ideas. This could be ideas that you might be working on for later. So it's not really time to, you know, jump off and head to the workbench. This is the time to go to the drawing bench first, maybe.
Yes, Mercury retrograde, we did a video about that, and we mentioned that earlier, but I'll just mention it again. And we do cover the actual cazimi in that video, and I'll put a link to that in the description. But yeah, with the cazimi, some people believe that it's valid for 1 degree either side of the sun, like Hellenistic astrologers. A lot of them use that, but medievals, I think is it 16 or 17 minutes?
Yeah, something like that. It's just a few minutes.
Yeah, so some people believe it energizes and kind of like really emphasizes the qualities of that planet. So in the case of Mercury, brilliant ideas, you know, great aha moments and all the rest of it. It's if you've been struggling with something, you know, during this retrograde, particularly in the Capricorn house, it you may have some understanding or some breakthrough at this time. This is the 22nd of December, just prior to Christmas. The problem is, leading up to this, Mercury has been under the beams or combust the sun. It's like it's so close to the sun we can't see it. So it's a great time to be doing things behind the scenes and doing those re-editing, reapplying, rethinking, rechecking, anything, you know, that has re in it, basically. After the cazimi, it's going to be also combust, burnt up by the sun, and then under the beams. So, and almost immediately after the cazimi, it's going to retrograde back into Sagittarius. So wherever Sagittarius is in your chart, for whatever reason, just after this cazimi, you're having issues or going over old ground to do with Sagittarius matters.
And the next aspect we're going to have is Mercury retrogress retro ingresses into Sagittarius. And you know, this is when, you know, those planets, when they do a retrograde, they can likely go into the house previous to them. So this is when Mercury is going to move back into Sagittarius, a good time to journal. Anytime a planet moves into a sign could be impactfful, especially if you have you know, any important points or planets at this at that degree, in, you know, in those degrees, in the late degrees. This is definitely a time to take note that something could change. This might propel you to help you figure out what it is that Mercury wants, you know, to be doing and functioning the next trip around the zodiac.
I'm just looking at that Mars there. It's at 20 degrees Sag, which is the degree that this new moon that this whole episode's about was at. So that's interesting. So yeah, not only is Mercury retrograding back into Sagittarius on the 23rd of December, but he's moving towards Mars, which is moving forward towards him. So yeah, really easy to, do things too fast, too hasty. Yeah. And you're probably going to have to go over old ground because of that. So wherever Sagittarius is in your natal chart, the people and topics associated with that house, you may need to just watch that you're taking your time and not rushing matters, because it may be what's causing you some issues for quite a bit now. As Donna was saying earlier, the shadow period for this retrograde Mercury is not until the 20th of January. So, almost another month of dealing with issues. So,
And then the next aspect that we're going to be talking about is the sun is going to sextile Saturn. And this is Saturn is moving direct right now. So, that's nice. They're not, and the sun never goes into retrograde. This is a good time. Sextile is a nice aspect. Saturn is that more somber planet, and when the sun and Saturn, when they get together, they're asking you to do the hard work or the detailed work or any kind of work that is serious. Kind of, saying take a look at, where the hard work in your life needs to take place.
yeah. Sun sextile Saturn on the 24th of December. You've got obligations and chores and things that you need to do, but you don't feel too badly about them. It's just like, yep, I need to do this, and yep, okay, I better go do it. Really interesting with it being so close to the holidays for many people. This is, last minute, have we got everything? And yeah, hopefully you do. And I mean, this should help with that quite a lot. Trying to think if they're, look at Mercury and Mars. Yeah, that might be causing some issues, but look, hopefully this will help sort some things out. The sun applying a nice helpful aspect to Saturn, who's solid and reliable and going direct. Oh, he's moving quite fast too. He's moving at 238% of his usual speed. So good for him.
Yeah. And then this is also, for those people who save their shopping until, Christmas Eve, your shopping is going to be serious. It's going to be detailed. It's going to be, more restricted. So expect that if you're saving your shopping until that last minute, you're going to have a little bit more restriction.
Yeah. And probably not big extravagant gifts either.
The next aspect is Venus trine Neptune. This is a really good time for it to be hitting on December 25th. This is a time when you just want to lay, lounge around and enjoy your family time and not dream and talk about gingerbread houses and other fun things that are like non-believable. Frosty the Snowman. You want to think about those kinds of things on today, because this is not a day for serious thought. This is also a day for really good compassion. If you have Venus trine Neptune, you can be really compassionate with those family members or friends that you are encountering on this day. If any of the hard planets are going to, make a connection, Venus and trine Neptune is a really good one to land right on Christmas. It'll keep kind of everything in the fogginess. Nothing's too serious, but there's a lot of love or beauty, appreciation, compassion around this day with these two connecting.
Yeah, nice that it's on Christmas Day in the States. It will be felt, for like down in Australia, we're quite significantly ahead of the US, for example. But we'll feel the build up to this, and the exact conjunction will probably be early on the 26th. Not conjunction, trine, sorry. The exact trine will be on the 26th. But yeah, like really nice, idealistic. just nice energy, maybe wearing some rose-colored glasses, but that's better than being too cynical or too jaded, I suppose, particularly if you are mixing with friends, family. It's, what do they say? Time of good cheer. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Just nice.
the only negative here is delusional love. You could be totally, you know, in the dark when it comes to love. So that
Yeah.
would be the only negative there.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Mars and Mercury getting closer too. But yeah, that might be a side issue.
And the moon's out of bounds.
Mm.
And so is Mars. So our emotions
Ah,
are going to be a little wonky.
yeah. Later on that night, the moon's going to oppose Mercury and Mars. It'll oppose Mars first. So yeah, could be some fighting words and some emotional upsets. But yeah, look, try to use this Venus Neptune and enjoy it. It's a nice aspect. Should be nice. And then we have the full
And
moon in
then
Cancer. Yes. On the 26th of December, which will be the 27th in Australia. So the moon is ruled by Cancer, so it's in its own sign. That's nice. Venus can see it, which helps.
to Jupiter.
Yes, Jupiter can see it, but so can Saturn. Mars can't. So that's something.
That's a benefit.
Yes, but he's hanging out with retrograde Mercury, so interesting. Well, we will find out what that's all about when we get to that at the next podcast.
And Lynda, I know it's a busy time of year for you, or it's a busy time of the year. What are you doing? What kind of services do you offer, and how can people get a hold of you?
I'm at Scullywag Astrology. That's astrology.scullywag.com. And I offer natal readings, relationship readings, and natal. I think I said natal. I offer natal readings, relationship readings, and year ahead readings. I'm tired. We were looking at charts earlier, and I think I've got Neptune, trine Neptune or something. And it is
Oh yeah,
early.
you do.
It's nearly 2 a.m.
You
here.
do.
Anyway. And Donna, how can people
Yeah.
find you and what services are you offering?
You can find me at donnabastraology.com. That's my website there. And you can email me at Donna Barr Consulting at gmail.com. And I offer natal year ahead as well as horary, um, electional, and I also work with stones for energy healing. So you can get a hold of me through my website
And
or email me.
if you're watching, I don't know if you're seeing this flashing. It's just Mercury shadow period stuff again. Did you see it?
I didn't see it that time, but I
Yeah,
did see it earlier.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just kind of flickering. It's weird. Yes. So thank you for listening, and well, happy holidays to anybody that celebrates the holidays, and I hope it's a nice, joyful, beneficial time for everyone. We really appreciate you listening and your comments and your shares and your likes, and thank you for listening.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, don't let the new moon trip you up. This one's a bit of a tricky one, I think.